Everyone has that one crypto token that they are incredibly bullish on and that they think is going to do well in the 2025 bull run. And in this video, I figured I'd tell you guys my number one gem, my number one play that I think has a ton of potential here and I am stupid bullish on, and that is the Ross Ulbricht token. So in this video, I'm going to tell you guys everything about the Ross Ulbricht token, and I want to remind everyone to do your own research. None of this is financial advice, and if you're looking for a cross-chain alpha community that actually called this token very early on, then join our Discord Jelly Cubes in the description of this video. It's a completely free group to join right now, so there's no reason not to. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Ross Ulbricht, he is the one who started the Silk Road something like 12 or 13 years ago. And the Silk Road was a drug trafficking platform where billions of dollars were being spent using Bitcoin to buy and sell drugs around the world. And essentially, this Ross Ulbricht guy was the one who founded it. He was actually an Ivy League student. He was a libertarian, which means that he believed that the government shouldn't have its hands on all these things, especially people's use case of drugs. So he started the Silk Road, and then he pretty much got busted. Now, there's a whole documentary and movie that you can watch to learn a little bit more about his story, but this guy is a very big figure when it comes to the crypto space, and he's actually one of the main reasons that Bitcoin had adoption early on, because people were using Bitcoin to transact on the Silk Road. Now, what's really crazy is he didn't just get 10 years in prison or 20 years in prison or something like that. They wanted to make an example out of him, and they gave him 2 life sentences, I believe, with no possibility of parole, aka you are dying in prison. And this was when he was in his 20s, so he was really young when he got this sentence, and actually shocked and pissed off a lot of people because of how unfair a lot of people saw that treatment. Now, what's really interesting is Trump, if you guys don't live under a rock, won the US presidency in November. And one of the interesting things is 6 months ago, so way before he got elected, he went to a libertarian conference, and this is what he said.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
AKA day one, January 20th, if Trump keeps his promise, is going to let Ross out of jail and be free. And in an attention economy like we have in crypto, I think this is going to be one of the biggest crypto news events. And not only are you going to have Trump talk about it, you're going to have Elon talk about it. You're going to have everyone in crypto talk about this. It's going to be all over the news, and there is a very high likelihood of Ross even going on major podcasts like Lex Fridman or Joe Rogan, and I can't imagine there not being a crazy amount of attention on Ross when all of this happens. Now, what's really interesting here, guys, guess what? There is a Ross Ulbricht token. This token is about 6 months old, and this is the major and OG Ross token. Now, if you look at the chart here, guys, the token was dead for the longest amount of time. I mean, it came out in sometime around June. No one was really paying attention to it, and it was completely dead. And then around November 5th is when it started taking off because Trump just won, and people were like, oh my God, Trump might actually pardon Ross, and that would be a major news event. So people started buying it. And just to show you guys something crazy, I called this Ross token play in the Discord at a $2 million market cap, and I pinged everyone and I said, buy this. And within the first week, it actually went on a 3.5x, and it actually had peaked at a $28 million market cap. So it hit a 14x within the first 7 days, and me making this play in the Jelly Cubes Discord. And what I was saying in this play is that I've studied Trump extensively. He almost always keeps his promises on the things he said. He's already going to be pardoning a lot of people on January 20th, day one, that did all of the riots and stormed the Capitol on January 6th. And I feel a very high confidence that he's going to follow through on his word here and pardon Ross. And I think that even though this is a long play, there's a ton of potential here, because if he does follow through on his word, it would literally be one of the biggest events to happen in crypto in a long time, and you would see everyone talk about it. And you can see here, guys, that it did peak to 28 million around November 15th, and I actually had told everyone once again on November 12th, don't sleep on it. It went all the way down to a $4 million market cap, and then literally within 3 days, it had gone all the way to 28 million. So that's just another reason for you to join our Discord. But regardless, this is the first token of Ross. The distribution looks solid overall. This is the one that people would be buying, in my opinion, because it's the OG one. It's the only one that has any sort of liquidity to it. The amount of holders have been going up this whole time, and the amount of volume has averaged around this $500,000 to $1 million worth of volume every single day, when for most people, this is still completely under the radar. And it wasn't just about that one conference event that's a one-time off post. Ross Ulbricht's main account had mentioned this all the way back in May, and then he's been saying multiple times, oh man, I'm so excited, I can't believe I can be home in a couple months. And there have been different congressmen that have also posted and talked about Trump actually saying that he would follow through with this. Now, the one downside for this token is that the main X account for the token is pretty poorly ran, in my opinion. They aren't making that many posts, and I think that it could do a much better job. I guess my argument here is that even though there isn't much of a team structure behind this token, and even though there isn't that great of marketing, I can't help but think, especially as someone who's been trading Solana meme coins, that as soon as this happens and as soon as this major news event breaks out, that there aren't a ton of people aping into this Ross token. Because right now, the way it works, guys, some major news event comes out, there's 30 different meme coins that come out all at the same time, and then one of them ends up hitting a $20 million market cap right away, simply because there's so many eyes and so many people FOMOing into the token. So to kind of summarize here, I think that we've been able to find something before a lot of people are really paying attention to it, and that's one of the biggest people in crypto being released from prison, and that being a major news event, and that's because Trump has said that he was going to do it. And if that happens, the amount of attention, the amount of volume, and the amount of traction on this coin, in my opinion, would be absolutely insane. And even right now at a $15 million market cap, or over 7x when I had originally posted in our Discord last month, I still think that the downside, once again, not financial advice and do your own research, and this is just my opinion, I think the downside compared to the upside is very limited, because everyone buying this token right now has pretty much been holding it, because why would you sell anytime before January, anytime before Trump takes office, when you know that there's a very high likelihood of this actually happening? And no one would be buying this token right now if they didn't see that video that I just showed you guys, or if they didn't know that this situation with Ross was happening. Now, the one thing that you guys have to be aware of that's a major downside for this token, once again, is the marketing isn't very good. And the second thing is there's always a chance that Trump doesn't actually pardon Ross. And if Trump doesn't pardon Ross, then I think this token will take a pretty significant hit. But once again, when I'm looking at the data, I don't see any reason why Trump wouldn't fulfill his promise, especially since he's already pardoning a bunch of people on his day one from the January 6th riots. And I don't see why he wouldn't do this for Ross, especially because a lot of the libertarian vote voted for Trump because he said this and because he made this promise. So yeah, guys, this token could go to absolute crap, but I figured I'd bring up my number one most highly convicted play right now, at least for the next 2 months. If you're watching this and January happened and he got pardoned and the token's blowing up, and for some reason this video gained traction, the risk is a lot higher. But if you're watching this video early on because you were subscribed and you saw this up to date, I still think it's early to this overall narrative, and I still think there's going to be way more attention leading up to January 20th. But yeah, this wraps up the video. Once again, join our Discord in the description if you want to be part of our alpha community and stay on top of these different plays. It's completely free, and if you provide value, you can actually unlock additional content in our Discord completely free, which is awesome. Or you can buy a Jelly Cube or a Jelly subscription and actually unlock everything day one. Last thing here, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date on all of the hottest and newest things happening in the crypto space. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all later.